but that was not meant to be. He, after giving me some slaps there, which I hear, my body was just shutting down. And I was in total denial. So I came to and I was like, what? It's actually happened, that I'd lost my husband of 29 days.
And when reality checked in, when you're in the hospital and you're told your husband was dead, did you think maybe you jinxed? Did you blame anyone or, you know, cast the earth? What was the reaction?
I actually didn't even do that on my own. Quite a few friends, relatives, people helped me to think that it was loud and clear. It was out there. That I'm cursed. It was out there that there's something wrong with her. You don't want to be seen with her, let alone anything, talking to her, you know. I remember one time I went to be a best mate of one of my friends, and in the morning of her wedding, she told me, please pray that the things that happen to you don't happen to me. And that really hurt, you know. I was wondering, why did you choose me, you know, for us to get to this point, and you asked me to pray against this. All the same, I did. And so word was out there to the point that I actually started believing it. So I remember sitting down with my parents and I told them, did I do something? You know, did I kill some child when I was a little girl, maybe, that you guys didn't tell me? And they said no. And I asked them, did you do something then? You know?
Generational curses.
Absolutely, that this is following me. And they really assured me. And I'm coming from a very prayerful background and being in pastoral itself, but still, I could not see what was happening. I looked for God. I couldn't see why all these things were happening to me. And imagine after the stab, when I was told that I wouldn't be able to give birth because the stab went too deep in my womb. And so my womb was ruptured. So with all these reports coming my way, I just thought, clearly there's something totally wrong with me. Yes.
Tell us how that experience changed you.
The turnaround in my life was, I have to decide to wake up and be happy. I have to decide to wake up and I'm going to eat today, or I'm going to take a shower today. Because I realized that many times when things happen in your life, you tend to think, because this has happened, I have a right not to want to eat. I have a right not to want to get out of bed. But at the end of the day, I tell people, the day has 24 hours. You decide how you're going to use them. But they're not going to slow down and they're not going to go back because you're hurting. Things happen in your life, but you have to move on. And so the turnaround for me was that, and I decided I'm going to speak to women's lives. I'm going to empower someone. Why women? Because we are the ones who hold so much in our lives. We just are not able to let go. And so really it changed. Many people did away with me. You know, I lost quite a bit of friends. One, because they believed something was totally wrong with me, and two, because they did not know what to tell me. But my family was very, very close. My family stood with me all the way. You know, we cried together, we prayed together. I asked them tough questions that I did not have answer to, but thank God they just said, you know what, our arms are open for you. You can crush here anytime. And I crushed several times, several times.
Family will always be there.
Absolutely, very important.
Afterwards, did you think of maybe getting married again?
At that time, I did not, and I made it very clear to everyone. I shouted out loud. I told everyone I'm never going to get married. I remember some of the people who were coming to see me, and they would tell me, you know what, you're still a young girl. You need to get out there after 3 months, wipe your tears and get married. And I would think, why would you tell me that? That's very insensitive. That's why I'm saying, watch the words you talk to, especially to someone who's gone through loss of a dear one. You know, it can be a daughter. I hear some people consoling one. They're saying, at least you have other children. That is not a consolation. You know, no one can take another person's place. But so I shouted out loud. So when this Tony started coming into my life, I did not know what was going to happen at the time, because he was in my life before and he was interested in getting married to me at that time. And I told him, no, I'm engaged. And so he came in as a friend and he walked with me. He would call 3 hours. We are just talking about my late husband, Harry, and I would cry. I made a pity party be a very close friend, you know. And so I would just be crying and crying and crying and talking to him. So finally, when he popped the question, I thought, here is someone who's lost it. Because so many have talked about me being the curse, to the point that I've even come to believe myself as being that, but a part of me was saying, no, God has something better for me. And I told him, the magazines written my story. Some magazines have written my story. Why don't you go by and read, you know, tell me if you truly want to marry me. And he did that. He told me, I want to marry you. And I said, something that the magazine did not capture is that I will not be able to give you children. And you know, in the African society, just how important that is. And he told me, according to the Bible, children are a blessing from God. If they come, amen. If they don't come, that means that he has more time on loving me. And I tell you, that totally blew me away. And I said, okay. So once I agreed with it, of course, I was talking to my parents, I was talking to my pastor, and we said we're going to go on with this. And he went to inform his family. Of course, not everyone is very happy, and guys just totally confused. But I thank God he stood for one word, because many people were fighting him. But I thank God he stood for one word and said, you know what? I love her. I've come to inform and not to consult. And that really, really helped. And so we went on to organize for a wedding. This time we did not have a free wedding, but God just brought in people to support us, and we had a beautiful, beautiful wedding. And so a month after, no, 1 year after, I went to hospital not feeling well, and it was confirmed that I'd conceived.
Ooh,
you know, and I thought, is this how God works? You know, after the doctors, you know, have shut down on you, they've said they've given up on you. But I went into another gyna just to confirm that, you know, am I really pregnant? And she said yes. So I picked my phone and I was texting everyone who cared to know or did not care to know that I'm pregnant. You know, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant. I was just very, very excited what God had done in our lives, and it was a hard 9 months. Very, very tough. Tough pregnancy. I was put on bed rest. I was told I needed to abort, because as the baby grew in my womb, the womb expanded, and so did the scar, so to speak. But 9 months with a lot of pain, but praising my way through. I just kept praising God, you know, and I was rushed to hospital, and a cesarean was done. And 15 minutes later, my husband was given a beautiful baby girl who's called Tehil. She'll be turning 3 this month. And God was just amazing on how he orchestrated everything.
And so many people, I'm sure, who are watching you right now, and even our studio audience, maybe someone has lost his or her loved ones. And maybe they're caught up in that situation of wanting to give up, you know, questioning everything, even, you know, some yelling at God is like,
Absolutely.
seriously,
Oh, I was
really,
there.
what do you get from, you know, making this happen? What advice can you tell them?
One thing I think I can just tell our audience and people who are watching back at home, you cannot afford to give up. Your situation looks so dead, and you can actually have believed that it is dead. But you know what? The one who has the last word is the Lord. He has the final say on your life. So what I say is keep turning the pages. You're in chapter 2, it doesn't look good, it's all right. Keep turning. Chapter 3 might not still look too good. Chapter 4, it's starting to look up. Chapter 5, chapter 6, go all the way until the Lord puts that seal on your life and says, it is finished, then it is finished. But until he does that, keep turning the pages. There's a better chapter that awaits. Absolutely.
Wow, wow. Pastor Terry, I'm sure most of us are really wowed by your story. You know, we have the tendency of complaining, my job is not, you know, sucks, or God give me another one, or it's this and that. Then when you listen to such a story, there are people who actually deserve to complain. They're not complaining. They're counting their blessings, you know, leaving everything to God to take care of it. But then Pastor Terry Gobanga has written a book, Crawling Out of Darkness. Where can people get a copy?
It's in many bookshops. There's Wickstar, there's Enjoy, there's Biblica. You can always get your copy there and be encouraged to keep turning the pages of your life.
Amen. Yes. So make sure you get a copy and keep turning the pages and the chapters. Amen. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.